Welcome back to another episode of the TackleTime podcast. I'm your host. My name is Nate. Thanks again for tuning in. Appreciate it. Today, we got Zach Maddox from Maddox Outdoors. If you haven't heard of him, check him out on Instagram. Zach is a great, just feel good kind of guy. Super nice. Loves talking about fishing, and we had a great time. And once again, I am surprised by the simplicity of the tackle we're talking about tonight, which is spoons. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complicated for something to work and work well. And that's what we're talking about tonight with Zach. So I'm not going to get too much into it here, but we're going to dive right into the episode. But before we do, you know what I'm going to say. If you've listened to at least one episode before, next time you need gear, you got to check out tacklebuys.com. TackleBuys.com compiles thousands and thousands and thousands of sale listings from across the web to find you the best deals on all the tackle you already love, or to find you new deals on tackle you want to try. If you need new baits, you need new rod and reels, you need new, batteries, whatever. We've got it all. I think we're up to 5,000 some listings, 6,000 listings at this point. So we're just making everything, every category you probably could ever want to search on the site is going to be there. So we're working hard on that and watch the site continue to grow with all kinds of great deals that we find. So we're gonna go ahead and dive right into this episode. Guys, tonight, thanks for tuning in again. We got Zach Maddox from Maddox Outdoors. Zach, say hello, introduce yourself, my man.
Hey, how's it going? Zach Maddox. Maddox Outdoors, my Instagram handle. Here in Central Florida on the Nature Coast, and I'm glad to be here with Nate.
I tell you what, your weather right now is a whole lot better than what I'm getting in Pennsylvania. It's snowing, it's sleeting, it's cold, it's miserable. I'd rather be in Florida right now. I tell you that, man.
It's funny because what you're feeling is kind of what we're feeling here in Florida. It's getting in. No longer there are t-shirt and shorts. I got to wear socks with my flip-flops now. So
oh man, I feel so bad for you.
But it is duck hunting season right now, so the cold weather, the rainy, the worst it can get. I'm all about it. But
that's awesome.
Oh yeah, see, Florida, if it's not 80 degrees or warmer than that, usually you'll find us in hoodies. So awesome. Pennsylvania guys.
We had a guy I was trying to get on. Hopefully one of these days he'll come on. He's a kayak fisherman, and he does a lot of waterfowl hunting right from his kayak. And I thought that would be an awesome conversation just to have. So we'll have to do that.
That is a whole different breed of guys. It's those are hardcore dudes. And
for sure.
you got to do what you got to do, and kayaking is good because you can get anywhere. You're quiet, but you gotta be in tune. I mean, I've watched guys almost get kicked out of their kayak just from recoil of a gun if they're not paying attention. So, but I'm sure he's got a lot he could add, and that's
so
that's hardcore, dude. That's hardcore. I like the duck blinds where I can cook breakfast and stuff. So.
I dig that. So tell us about you. I mean, you're obviously in Florida. Did you grow up in Florida? What's your background?
I grew up in a small town, Inverness, Florida. It's just west of, Wildwood, south of Gainesville. A lot of people don't really know. But my stomping grounds is always Homosassa, Crystal River.
Okay.
Yankeetown. So it's all the Nature Coast, West Coast fishing. Ever since I was, man, if I could hold a fishing rod, I was always, on the water. My dad is a big outdoorsman. So on the weekends for family time, we would be fishing or we would be hunting. My sisters they weren't really big into hunting and stuff. So that was kind of me and my dad. That's where we got to bond a lot. But we grew up on a freshwater lake here in Inverness on Lake Henderson. And we fished out of Crystal River and Homosassa. We did a lot of red fishing, grouper fishing, snook, trout. As a kid, that's kind of how we learned how to fish, was a popping cork and a shrimp drifting grass flats for trout. So
nice. Wow.
Yeah, I've lived here most of my life. I did live in Alabama for 5 years because of my dad's job, which that was really tough because we couldn't do any saltwater fishing. But we got into the bass fishing and hunting a little bit more. But now we're back home, and I've been here for I'm 26 now, so 21 years.
Wow.
I grew up here, so. But yeah, this is home, man. I love it. It's some of the best fishing you can get over here in the Nature Coast.
That's awesome, man. That's we haven't had like I would say a real saltwater fisherman on. We've had a couple guys who who are near the coast and they'll go here and there and they enjoy it, but not somebody who's a lot of their main focus is saltwater fishing. So I'm definitely excited to have you on because of that.
I mean, it is my passion. I do love freshwater fishing. I enjoy the guys you've had on your podcast, talking about the freshwater stuff. I can definitely relate to that. Again, Florida is huge on bass fishing. I mean, we've got ponds everywhere, and
Absolutely.
every golf course we have that you can throw a rock to. There's so many of them around us. They hold some of the biggest bass. I mean,
That's awesome.
I got a 9.2 on my wall from a golf course pond. So
Wow. Wow.
freshwater does have my heart, but saltwater, that's my passion. That is definitely my passion. There's just, that was one thing that attracted me to saltwater growing up was, with freshwater, you have a species that you're going after, so you use your worms and your chatterbaits and your rattle traps, and you're going to catch a largemouth, and not very often you're going to catch anything else. Maybe, a catfish every now and then or something. But when it comes to saltwater and you throw out a shrimp or a pinfish, everything eats everything out there. So I mean, that was so exciting growing up. Is honestly, you never knew what you were gonna get.
Huh.
You're out fishing, you catch your flounder, and you get puffer fish, and you get stingrays and cobia. More in the winter times, and your redfish. That was just something that was. I think that's what really drew my passion was you just never they're just vicious creatures out there, man.
For sure.
I love it.
No, there's something primal about it for sure. Now, when you were talking about when you guys used to go fishing, a lot of the species you were naming were good eating fish. I mean, did you guys take them
Oh,
home and eat, or you just always toss them back?
you know, my grandfather was, if it fit in a frying pan, it was coming home with us. We kept a lot of the fish, but we also threw a lot back. You have your slot limits and stuff, and I kind of got the moral of, if you're getting toward the upper slot, like your redfish and stuff, I always throw them back just because they're so close to being that breeding age.
Yeah. Yep.
And so the smaller ones I typically like to keep. So for here, like our redfish um, is 18 to 27. Well, I don't keep anything over 24 because, and it's kind of dumb. All my buddies laugh at me, but I like to fish tournaments, and I kind of have a thing where if I release that 26.5 inch redfish, that's 7.5 pounds, I might be able to catch them again on a tournament day. It's just, it's something dumb, but it's there. I got a lot of respect for the fish. And we ate. I mean, we tore up flounder and trout and redfish, and that was kind of like our favorite thing. Then we got into a lot of grouper fishing.
Oh, okay.
So when my dad was teaching us, we did a lot of, more of your inshore stuff. It was easier. You're popping cork with a shrimp, or, like with a jig head and a root beer jig. So that was kind of easier. Then you started getting into, your top waters and stuff like that. But then when we got to grouper fishing, you kind of figure out, all right, they don't get seasick. They can enjoy it a little bit more. They're a little stronger because grouper, I mean, they fight hard, and they'll pull the pole right out of your hands. So
Huh.
I was very, very lucky, that my family enjoyed that. So I got to grow up on it and learn a lot about it. And you learn a lot about, respect for the environment kind of thing, your conservation,
Yeah.
throw trash in the water, you pick up trash when you see it, stuff like that. So you kind of, it teaches you a lot. I think that's really important while, to teach our younger generation more about the outdoors. It gives them a little bit more respect.
I absolutely agree. We've talked about it in the past, on other episodes, but that's what being an outdoorsman is, or outdoorswoman. Being totally inclusive. And the fact is that, it's about being a steward, and that's exactly what we are. We might enjoy the sport, but we take care of nature because we love it and we enjoy being out there for sure.
That you take care of it and it takes care of you, because we don't. You can, as a lot of people know, our estuaries are dying because of
Hmm.
and not taken care of. That's why, the Captains for Clean Water and the CCA and all those organizations are fighting to kind of help keep restoring our waterways. So, if you're out there and you see, a birthday balloon on the water or something, just pick it up, and it makes you feel good too. You're doing something good for, that's your home.
Yeah, agreed.
So
Agreed. So
yeah, I love
I,
it, man.
I see some of your pictures on Instagram, you taking a skiff out and getting out there. I mean, what's your, say again? I lost you there.
I have a 16-footer. I've got a Hughes Redfisher, a 16-foot Hughes Redfisher. I've got a couple buddies. They've got gator tail mud boats, so those are fun to go out when you want to get in real skinny water.
Yeah.
But yes, sir, that Hughes, I named her Rona for Come Rona. Rona's a fish slaying machine.
That's awesome. No, that's cool. That looks like a little battleship to get out there and slay some fish for sure.
It is, and I mean, it gets skinny. It gets very skinny. I mean, I'll draft in just under a foot of water. I'm on plane in 12 inches of water. So, but it's a very comfortable boat. For the wife, and if I'm taking out friends that have their kids and stuff like that. That when you're getting your little technical pulling skiffs, it gets a little rocky. But
Gotcha.
old Rona, she's a good girl.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I figure we ought to jump right into to the tackle, what everybody came to listen to tonight. And from what I understand, you love talking about spoons, man. So we should talk about some spoons.
I'm a big fan of throwing spoons. That was kind of one of those things that we were taught as a young kid. You chuck it and you wind it. I mean, it's you throw it, you reel it back, and it catches fish. Man, I don't know what it is about them, what they do, but I like to throw. I mean, there's the Johnson silver minnows, and there's 100 different companies that sell spoons, and they're all good, and they're all going to catch fish. My favorite are Aqua Dream spoons. It's more of like almost, I feel like it's a local company. But they're really big, getting big. They're growing everywhere. And the thing about these spoons is that if you can tell, they've got like a little fishy pattern to it. They're not smooth. So when this is coming through the water, it looks more, as an artificial bait fisherman, you're kind of behind the 8 ball a lot because you don't have the scent. We're mimicking what they want to eat.
Yeah.
That's live bait. So when they put these patterns on these spoons, it really intrigued me because as it's coming through the water, it's reflecting light differently.
Yeah.
But it looks to me a little bit more realistic. But these are my all-time favorite. This is my search bait. If I'm in waters that I don't really know what's there, this is what I throw, and it's weedless. So I don't have to worry about, we have a lot of rocks and oyster bars and stuff out here in the nature coast. So it just bumps over them. I don't get hung up a lot. It doesn't matter, your water depth. If you are in a little bit deeper, 3 to 5 foot of water, you can throw, 3/8 ounce or something a little bit heavier, reel it a little slower. But if you're in, my wheelhouse, which is 2 foot and under, you chuck and wind, you cover a lot of ground. And I always pair these up with a swivel. Everybody kind of has their own little thing, but what that does is when you pair it to that swivel and that little split shank right there on the top, it keeps it from spinning and winding up your line. So as this is coming through the water, it'll spin and it creates more vibrations, but it doesn't take your fishing line and wind it up and get knots in it. Knots and stuff. So it is very important every time that I throw one of these is I always put on a swivel, and that kind of, it helps. I think it helps with, the pattern as it's swimming, but it also helps with that without winding your line. And I always, as artificial guys, whether you're saltwater or freshwater, scent is very big. Scent is kind of what, that's what it tricks the fish into going, all right, well, it looks like a fish and now it smells like a fish, or it smells like bait, that I'm gonna hammer it. So I personally always want to throw with I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's a company called Procure. They make a scent gel. I brought it on with me right here. And,
gotcha. Okay.
This is my favorite flavor. This is Menhaden. They also have mullet. They've got garlic for like your freshwater stuff. They got a saltwater one. they got all kind of different stuff, but it's a gel. So when you put it on them spoons, it kind of stays a little bit longer. You know, your liquid sprays and stuff, you know, yeah, they are more of an oil base, but they kind of come off pretty quick. You don't want to have to constantly reapply, especially, you know, if you're tournament fishing, time is money. So
Yeah.
put it on, and man, they just hammer it. It's redfish just hammer it like you wouldn't believe. It's a freight train. It's a great feeling, and snook love them.
Oh, really?
They've got a couple different, you know, colors. They've got your classic golds. They got, you know, like one looks like a blue crab. It looks like a live print blue crab, a live print pinfish. My go-to, and a lot of times my colors also depend on your weather. Your overcast days, your clear sunny days, you know, your afternoons. Is it rainy? That's kind of going to dictate a lot of the things of the colors and what kind of bait I'm going to use. So if it's a bright, clear day, I'm going with gold. Gold is gold's the moneymaker. That's your old faithful. That's
Gotcha.
you know, gold's never gonna leave you dry. Um, or even on your sunny days and your overcast days, there's this. It's a matte black chartreuse tip, and this spoon, I've retired this spoon because the hook is loose, the weed guard's ripped off. I mean, I've caught so much fish on this thing. It is just, you know, she deserves a retirement. But snook tear it up, redfish tear it up. I've caught trout on them. I'm sure if you got in the deeper waters, I bet a grouper would smash it, cobia would smash it, or you go with I really like this watermelon red flake. Um, this I don't catch as many redfish on this color, but my goodness, tear it up. My personal best snook is on this spoon, so.
Oh, okay. That's awesome, man. That's
And they're just easy. You don't, you know, if you I I like to take a lot of people fishing that's never really done it. They're yeah, you know, I fished here and I fished there, and I've done this a few times. Well, you know, they're not hitting spots at 50 yards. They're not, you know, it's kind of a little bit sporadic, but this is something they can throw and they don't have to worry about working it. They don't have to worry. It's not a twitch bait. It's not a top water like a skitter walk. This is a chuck and wind, and it just catches fish, man. I'm not sponsored by this companies or anything. I would love to be sponsored by them, but I'm telling you, I just believe in these products. They
that's
catch
awesome, man.
they catch fish. I can't, you know.
So where do you see them? Obviously, it seems like you love them all over the place, but you said you like to fish more shallow water. So, you know, are you normally fishing saltwater shallow, or are you fishing freshwater shallow? You know, what's that look like for you?
I would say 80% of the time, 90% of the time, I'm fishing saltwater.
Okay.
When I'm fishing shallow, I'm fishing flats, backcountry mangroves, rock piles, stuff like that, around islands. A lot of times in the summer, it depends. We'll go to deeper water just because the water gets so hot. Here in Florida, this summer we're battling temperatures of like 93 to 94-degree water temperatures. So your fish are going to be looking for your deeper pockets, removing water and stuff. We're catching trout at 16 feet of water. You know,
Wow.
most of our sea trout we catch is in max 6 feet of water, 6 to 8 feet of water.
Sure.
But over here in Florida, our temperatures they get crazy. And winter times, you know, our temperature gets down to that wheelhouse of, you know, your if it's real cold winter, like your January, February, we'll get in like 50, 60-degree water. But your 7-degree water that's our wheelhouse. That's when everything's happy. And I kind of try to explain to people, you know, you get your water temperatures that are in like mid 70s. It's like you or I going outside, it's mid 70s. You're like, oh man, I just want to be outside all day. You know, that's kind of how I like to explain it. But everything is weather permits everything, you know. But yes, sir, shallow water, that's where I throw this mostly in our shallow water, salt waters.
Okay. So what if you found, I mean, obviously it doesn't sound like you put a lot of finesse into getting these out there and pulling them back. I mean, is there more to it, or is it really that simplistic for you?
With a spoon, it's that simple.
Okay.
Um, that's why it's my favorite search bait is you just throw it as far as you can and you reel it in, and you throw it and you reel it in, and throw it and reel it in, and it catches fish. Because with that, when it's on that swivel, these spoons are concave,
Mm-hmm.
so they're automatically going to be moving. They're going to be pushing water in that vibrations, and that's how they're going to find it. But you don't really have. I mean, some people twitch them every now and then. I don't feel like you need to, because just a straight retrieve has caught all the fish that you can handle. So when it comes to these spoons, it is that simple. That's why it's one of my favorites. Anybody can use it.
Do you find a pause partway through the retrieve? Does that make a difference? I mean,
When it's colder water, I'll retrieve it slower. Um, but when it's your 70 to 80 degree water, you just you don't rip it. Um, you know, you don't want to pull it away from the fish. You can't as I'm trying to, how do I put this? You don't want to you don't want to bring it back so fast that they can't get it. And I mean, fish are
like a
fast.
constant retrieve, just a
It's a constant retrieve, nice and easy. And but when it comes to the wintertime, they start getting a little slower. That's when I'll retrieve it, much slower. But other than that, man, it's a straight retrieve. It's a chuck and one.
gotcha.
It's anybody can use it. That's the thing, is you don't have to be, a 5-time IFA tour champion to be a good spoon fisherman.
Sure. Okay, so what rod would you normally pair this with? Something like a medium?
My favorite, I try to do as light a tackle as I can.
Okay.
So a medium light is definitely the wheelhouse for these. I throw two different spoons depending on our water depth. Obviously, most of the time I throw a 1/4 ounce.
Okay.
So 1/4 ounce is not a lot.
No.
When you get a little bit deeper water and I retrieve it a little slower, I'll go to your 3/8 ounce. But other than that, I run 10-pound power or braid, Power Pro braid, and I do a 20-pound leader, fluorocarbon or mono. It doesn't really matter, but I only run that because of snook.
Gotcha.
The snook, the snook is a saltwater bass. They have that mouth, but it destroys leaders. It's like a tarpon. Their mouths are a lot like a tarpon. It's like a wet center block.
Gotcha.
The abrasion is just so quick. So if we're catching more snook that day, then I might bump to 30-pound. But I like to keep it as light as possible, because there's nothing better than catching, for say freshwater. It's like catching an 8-pound bass on, 8-pound, mono. I mean,
Sure.
there's a lot of, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of heat going to it, and there's, in the back of your mind, you're like, I can't horse this too much.
Yeah, I hear you. No, that's awesome. I always try and give the people listening just a more complete picture to make sure that they're you can apply the perfect technique, but obviously if you throw it out there on the wrong rod, or it can go sideways. And I always try and bring it whole.
That's 100% right. You don't want to throw like a 1/4 ounce lure on a heavy action rod. Because you're not going to get the bait's not going to swim the way it's supposed to. That's why, and it makes it super simple, but a lot of people don't realize this. On your rod, when it tells you the power, medium, light, heavy, it tells you what lures is good for that.
Yeah.
You're going to get better casting distance. You're going to get better, bait action out of it, and you're going to enjoy fighting the fish a whole lot more. I'm not going to throw a 1-ounce lure on a medium light rod. That's just, you're not going to get a good hook set out of that. You're not going to get the retrieve that you want out of it. It's just going to take everything away from your experience. So honestly, man, that's if anybody takes anything from this podcast, is choosing the right lure for the right rod.
Agreed.
It's super easy, but it's overlooked. I did it, man. I did it a lot. I was a big medium heavy everything guy for a long time, and then I started realizing, look, I like to drop it down. You get better action out of your baits, and it's way more fun, to fight fish, because a medium heavy for me is the best all around, like your saltwater, freshwater rod setup.
Sure.
But man, I like light tackle.
I
You
do
know,
too.
way
Me
more fun.
personally.
It's way more fun.
You know what? I compare everything correct. I can use the right technique. I still never catch anything, so it doesn't matter. I mean, just go out there and have some fun.
There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot to it. But if you're enjoying it and it's your getaway and it's not, a stressful thing, that's the best thing that you can take away from it. Because
Yep,
once fishing starts to get stressful and you're not having fun when you're going out, well, it's a waste.
agreed.
You don't
Agreed.
need to be doing it anymore. So, it ain't all about catching 100 fish. It ain't all about catching the biggest fish and, win all these tournaments. It's about how much you enjoy it and how much you and your family can benefit from it and your friends. And man, to me, it's just a getaway. It's something that, I have a lot of passion for. It's something that I want to keep passing down to different generations because there's too many kids stuck inside playing video games.
Yeah, I
But
hear
go
you.
outside. Some of the best times I've ever had was outside, riding bikes and hitting golf course ponds. So this is something that you know everybody needs.
I
Everybody
had
needs
a
to be outside.
I had a good friend on. He came on as a guest, and he said one thing that'll always stick with me. It was just so funny. Was we start out fishing, and everybody wants to catch a fish. They want to catch one fish,
That's it.
and then next they want to catch a bunch of fish after they catch their first fish. Well, then after they catch a bunch of fish, they want to catch a really big fish, and
Yeah,
all of a sudden, you know,
I agree with that exactly. I actually listen to that podcast. Is it's almost like you're never satisfied.
and it's exactly what happens. It's like you can't even enjoy the fact that you're out and you can enjoy it. And no, and it's like, everybody wants to catch a fish, and I get that, and I'm cool with that. I love fishing. I love catching fish, and I never fucking catch a fish anyway, but I still like going and having a good time. But the point is it's supposed to be a relaxing, enjoyable, and a hobby ain't supposed to be the easiest thing that you pick up and all of a sudden you're a pro at. It's
Uh,
supposed to be somewhat hard. It's supposed to be challenging, somewhat. So I think fishing checks all those boxes.
100%. Fishing has been some of the most rewarding and some of the most fun times I've ever had, but some of the most just irritating things as well. There's nothing like having, everybody's had those days, and you see it on YouTube and stuff of kids learning about heartbreak early, is when they finally catch that big fish that they've been wanting, and he gets it up to the boat and they breaks off.
Yep. Yep.
That is the most devastating thing. I mean, that's up there with your dog dying. I mean, it is devastating, but it's something we all learn. We all have to go through, and that's when you cuss fishing. Then the next day you're like, oh, I can't wait to go back because I think I can catch them again. But that's why we're supposed to do this.
The best of times and worst of times, for sure.
And honestly, some of the worst times I've ever had turned out to be the best fishing trips I've ever had.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Oh man, I can't tell you how many times that one in particular, we were 60 miles offshore. We got caught in a storm and the water came over the back of the boat and it fouled a plug on the engine. And
Oh
we're,
wow.
we're dead in the water. And it is pouring down rain and we're 6 to 8 foot seas and we're gonna have to call Coast Guard to come get us because it's getting bad. It looks like that Ashton Kutcher movie was The Guardian. The
Yeah.
the waves out, like you would think they're gonna send rescue swimmers out to us. Well, we ended up finally changing the plug, putting everything together, motor fires up, run out of the storm, and then we caught the most grouper I think I've ever caught in one day. And,
Wow.
big sharks and grouper. It was such a phenomenal day, but it started out absolutely miserable.
That's
And so I think that's why I'm a little messed up now when it comes to miserable fishing situations. Is I kind of get a little bit excited because I'm like, okay, this is gonna turn out really good.
well. I'm paying my dues. That's gonna pay off. I'm gonna get there.
I'm earning it. I do not leave. I do not leave my house without rain gear. It doesn't matter if it's
Smart.
supposed to 0% chance and the most beautiful day in the world. I always bring the rain gear because I know, hey, this could turn bad quick.
It happens.
It's just my luck, man. That's how it is. Everything I do is always it's the hard way. It's not by choice. It just happens that way.
Except for throwing some spoons. That's the easy way.
Yeah, honestly, it's foolproof. I think that's why I like it so much. I mean, you know, it, it's easy.
I haven't had a lot of luck with spoons other than catching a few trout. This is just some small trout. and haven't had a whole luck otherwise. But that doesn't mean that I've given it its fair due. So
I was in the same situation. Actually, it was probably 5 years ago. I was fishing with a couple of my coworkers, and we were throwing spoons, and I started complaining. I was like, I don't know why you guys are throwing these. I've never caught anything on them. They're a waste. I don't know what you see in them. And then bam, I got a redfish.
huh.
Okay, all right, well, all right, that it was a fluke. But I told myself, look, I'm gonna throw it for the rest of the day because I got to give it its fair chance. And I ended up catching 2 or 3 redfish, in a couple hours after that. And then that builds a little bit of confidence. I think when it comes, it doesn't matter what you're throwing. If you have confidence in that bait, you will catch fish with it.
I think you're
So
right. Yep.
I built a little bit of confidence, and then now it's my moneymaker. I mean, that's number one for me.
That's awesome.
So I stick with it, man. Stick with it. If you're ever down in Florida and you're not sure what to throw, be like, hey, I remember this crazy guy named Zach. He loves spoons. I'm gonna throw a spoon.
Throw a spoon. Get the spoon out.
You will catch fish. I promise.
I love it. You know what? This was awesome. I had a great time talking with you, Zach. I really appreciate you coming on and giving some.
For the invite. I feel honored. Thank you.
Oh man, it was perfect. We got a few fishing stories in. We talked about some spoons. I had a great time. We had a couple laughs. So I want to thank you again for coming on with us, and please tell everybody again where they can find you and connect with you and hopefully follow along.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram, it's the same thing. Maddox Outdoors, Maddox_outdoors. I don't have anything up on YouTube yet. That's something I want to do in the future. But yeah, Instagram is really where I'm most active, or Facebook if you want to hit me up on both those.
And Maddox is Maddox. Correct.
Maddox, yes, sir.
Got it. Perfect. And yeah, don't go searching the other way. You won't find him.
Yeah, hopefully they find me, and maybe they get a kick out of some of the stuff I'm doing. And or if
I was particularly fond of the I forget what it was. The stars and stripes.
Oh yeah, my overalls.
That's what it was.
Oh yeah, I'm a big American flag guy. That was supposed to be my 4th of July outfit, and it didn't show till July 6th. So I was a little upset. But yeah, you can always find me having something American flag on me or drinking a Busch Light. That's my two things. Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, man. I just like to have fun. I like to make people laugh. So I mean, you never really know what to expect.
That's 2 of us, man. Well, thank you. Thank you again for coming on. And we're gonna go ahead and cut this one off here. So thanks again, Zach.
Absolutely, man.
See you guys.
See you.